You only live twice. That's the title to the 1967 James Bond movie where Sean Connery, as Agent 007, and the Japanese Secret Service Ninja Force must stop a series of space jackings before nuclear war is provoked and the world becomes destroyed. Spoiler alert, YOLO. YOLO is an acronym for the phrase, you only live once, known to be said regularly before roller coaster rides, traveling to distant lands, and splurging on the random acts of pizza subreddit. The term is used to proclaim a celebration of life while justifying a greater than normal risk. Because after all, YOLO! While the acronym itself is relatively new, the phrase you only live once, and variations of the same idea, have been around and documented for centuries. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, Johann Strauss II, Mae West, Frank Sinatra, Kagan. But the acronym YOLO is another story. Most people associate the saying with Canadian recording artist Drake, who tweeted a photo of himself standing on a balcony using the word on October 23, 2011. Can you sing hashtag? And soon after, YOLO started popping up all over the place, making it all the way to actor Zac Efron's right hand, an actual YOLO tattoo, the actor's personal mantra. And what better way to express the YOLO sentiment than permanently marking your hand? But YOLO truly came into its own when Drake featured the term in his hip-hop single, The Motto. The Motto reached the Billboard Hot 100 charts in the US, making its way into mainstream popularity. The lyrics include, "Now she want a photo, you already know though, you only live once, that's the motto, YOLO." Well, as you can imagine, YOLO merch started to pop up, and by the time it made its way into Macy's and Walgreens, Drake claimed infringement and demanded royalties on anything selling the YOLO term, telling both Walgreens and Macy's to, quote, "chill out or cut a check." But soon enough, reality set in, and in this case, it came from a restaurant in sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida, that's held the trademark since 2007. And that Guy Corp's YOLO graphic has been trademarked for all kinds of cosmetic products, including t-shirts. And of course, the Canadian-based YOLO Medical, which owns the trademark on YOLO apparel, would probably have something to say about it. The US trademark database reveals several earlier attempts to use the acronym commercially, including but not limited to YOLO You Only Live Once Driver Safety Propaganda, 1996, YOLO You Only Live Once Clothes, 2004, and all of these. An apparent trend around the mid-90s likely inspired Mickey Hart, the drummer for the Grateful Dead, to name his California ranch YOLO for You Only Live Once in 1996. The first large-scale national appearance of YOLO appears to have come from Adam Mesh on the third season of the NBC reality show Average Joe. Mesh presented his love interest with a YOLO bracelet from his 2004 clothing line of the same name. 2 years later, the rock band The Strokes propelled the phrase into the pop culture consciousness by launching a campaign promoting Operation YOLO, asking fans to request their 2006 single You Only Live Once on radio stations and to place their track in their MySpace profiles. Remember MySpace profiles? The same fate appears destined, ironically, for YOLO itself, and leave it to Katie Couric to put the final nail in the coffin. Couric's new talk show featured a segment called What's Your YOLO?, prompting viewers to make a video about the one thing they've always dreamed of doing.
I've got lots of YOLOs. I think one of my top YOLOs is to star in a Broadway musical. Gotta dance!
As you can see, it was all but over for the plucky acronym when in late January, Saturday Night Live and the Lonely Island crew teamed up with Adam Levine and the musical guest Kendrick Lamar to make a YOLO parody video changing the meaning to You Oughta Look Out, promoting safe and responsible behavior. Which is exactly what these characters do not do. Perhaps like clothes, it will return again for a future cycle, but what about now? Like my friend Caesar and I always used to say, cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once.